What up, fish? It's your boy Chillfish back at it again with another deck profile. On this one, we're talking about Counter Fairies. Jay did a video a while ago talking about what to run in Counter Fairies. I did a video about a week or two ago talking about how they're one of my top 5 contenders for decks that come back into the meta, and I also talked about them a lot in my thoughts on Solemn Judgment video. So now I've been playing the deck for a few weeks. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's it can have potential. You can do a lot of things with it, but sometimes it just turns into another World Chalice deck where it can do anything but win. But I think it really depends on what you're playing or what you can do with the deck. I do think there's a lot of potential with this, and if people don't know how to side against this, or if you really play a lot with your side deck, this could help out a lot. But let's get on to it right now with the main deck. So obviously it's Counter Fairies. The first thing you think of when you think of Counter Fairies is Bountiful Artemis 3. There's 3. Now one thing in particular, sorry guys, trying to line these up real quick, that you have to do this, because when I first played these I was not aware of this and I technically broke the rules, is that these costs are all mandatory, these effects. So when you activate a card or a counter trap, you have to draw a card. There's not an option. So if your opponent doesn't do that for whatever reason, they're technically breaking the rules, and so I just forgot because I was being a scrub that day. But activate a counter, and it says by the way, each time a counter trap card is activated. So that means if your opponent, if you have this on the field and your opponent activates, a strike, not to the summoning of this obviously, but a strike or a warning or a judgment on anything, if this is on the field for you, you get to draw the card regardless. So super huge, super important, super relevant. Now this one right here is another amazing card, Minerva, Scholar of the Sky. Now it says this one again has that each time a trap card, so a counter trap. So either it's on your turn or your opponent's, this effect goes off, where if Sanctuary of the Sky is on the field as well, against 500 attack, against 500 attack regardless, and then if Sanctuary of the Sky is on the field, you add one counter trap with a different name from the graveyard to the hand. So in theory, if your opponent activates Strike, for example, and your Judgment's in the graveyard, if Sanctuary of the Sky is on the field, this card can get you back your Judgment from the grave, which is one of the other reasons why this deck is very powerful, because it can utilize Solemn Judgment pretty well, and it can, in theory, search it out. So another card, now I kind of like 2 cards that are, or 3 cards that are extremely important based on, I'm kind of playing, well, based on what I'm playing and showing a reveal, is Meptiel, Sage of the Sky. Basically get 1,000 life points when you activate a trap. Each time a counter trap card is activated, you get 1,000 life points and you can destroy 1 card on the field. And this is, again, you have to destroy 1 card on the field. That's not an option. I'm playing 1 Power Angel Valkyria. I'll explain why kind of more recently, but her effect isn't terrible. It's, if you negate the activation of a spell or trap card, add 1 Light Fairy from your deck to your hand, so you can search out other cards you need, other pieces, and other cards, because it is a little stunny. It's pretty good against a lot of decks, except for ABC, unfortunately. Bear Statue of the Heavens. You need to play against special summon cards, except for light monsters. Since your whole deck is light, it helps you. Now, again, if you're playing anything with Invoked running around or ABC, this will not help you at all because they're all lights. But if you're playing against like a dark deck or something like that, this does help you out a little bit. And they're all targets for a card that I'll be mentioning in just a minute. Now, I am running the Ariadne play. I'm running triple Ariadne because when it's the pendulum effect is that you don't have to discard to activate counter traps or pay life points. So this is your free judgment right here. And its effect is that if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, when it's a monster, not a pendulum, you can reveal 3 counter traps, opponent chooses 1 and shuffle the rest back. So this can help you further get out your, it's destroyed, it can help you search out more things and everything, which can get you back your judgment. And 1 card I'm running with this to help it out is Luster Pendulum, because it could pop the scale, get another one out, so it thins your deck, and then since it is destroyed technically, or I think it's destroyed, double check. Yeah, since it is destroyed, you can activate its effect, so to speak. If I'm wrong with that, guys, please let me know in the comments. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I have no problem with that. But these do help out because you can theoretically have your scale set, use this to clear out your scale, so on and so forth. And because it is a scale 5 and a scale 3, they are all able to pendulum summon all of your fairies to the board. So this does help out a little bit. I like the engine. It does cut into your counter trap lineup at the bottom, but I do think it's worth it in the long run. I'm only playing 2 Ties of the Brethren, moving on to the traps, by the way. I'm playing 2 Ties of the Brethren because I feel like 2 Ties is just enough. I'm not focusing really heavy on Ties. I'm focusing on the other build that people play, which is Card of Demise. But with that being said, I do believe that you could play these 2 and they could work pretty well together. Now, unfortunately, if you draw 1 in each hand, you have to make a decision. Demise or Ties. Either way, they're both great options when you're going second. You want to go second. Well, you want to go first with this deck to set up plays. So, my opinion, either way, they're both great for going first. This is a little bit better going second, in my opinion, but both work out. Since I'm playing Tie Supply, I run the Metiel, the Powered Angel, and the Barrier Statue of Light because it does give you more targets. You can run Honest in the deck for protection and just for another target. I'm not, but there's no reason why you shouldn't, unless you're just, for me, I'm just not running it because of deck space, but to each their own. Another kind of, I would say, pieces that all work together for this are your Sanctuaries in the Sky. So 2 Sanctuary of the Sky. I'm not playing Card of Demise or Pot of Desires in this deck because every time I took it to locals, Pot of Desires would actually end up bricking me and ruining my life a lot more than helping. I'm sorry. I think it's a good card and you should keep your copies, and it can be used in certain decks, but Counter Fairies, I'm sorry, I just didn't see a purpose in it, but you can play that, so we're playing extra Sanctuary in the Sky. Playing 3 Sanctum of Parshath because it gains you that 300 attack boost. It does help you. This card's going to become Sanctuary in the Sky while in the field or graveyard, so it does give you basically 5 copies of Sanctuary in the Sky. Fairy monsters gain 300 attack. Defense set spells cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. This basically also protects all of your back road and lets you go off and free and then play. And then, this is the effect that I think a lot of people sleep on, is that once per turn, you can target a total of 3 fairies and slash or, guys. So there's 2 options there. Counter have different names, place them on top of your deck in any order. This can clearly recycle, your Artemises if you need to. It can recycle your Judgments. It can recycle all of your counter traps, and it could be any combination. So you could literally pick, okay, Artemis and 2 counter traps, or 2 counter traps and Artemis, or 3 counter traps, 3 fairies. Stack on the deck and kind of gives you a little bit of resurgence, and it's once per turn. So you can do this at the end of each of your turn and just further stack your deck, so to speak. And if you keep going into your deck like you're going to, it'll just help you get your consistency and return, targets. Another thing I'm playing, kind of following a True Draco route since the deck can special summon a lot, Pot of Desire, Pot of Duality, pardon me. Pot of Duality just helps out because it, you can't special summon, so if you're playing this, you can't obviously do Ties, but Ties is the only real special summoning you do in the deck. It helps you dig for your pieces, dig for things that you could utilize, either dig for the monster you need or dig for counter trap. And with Demise, we've seen this in True Dracos. Demise and Pot of Duality work very well together. So I figured let's borrow that concept and apply it here. For the kind of the one-ofs, 1 Dark Hole because it's going second, and Monster Reborn because it's freaking Monster Reborn. It revives your cards pretty quickly, and since it can target your opponent's graveyard, you can do that as well. This helps you bring back your Artemis, brings back your Metiel, bring back whatever you need, Minerva's, E-I-E-I-O. Now for the counter traps. I'm running a very different counter traps. Jay did a much better profile talking about all the different traps you can run. This is what I'm kind of running with in this meta. I'm playing 3 Drastic Drop Off because this card really helps out. You play it on your opponent's draw phase. They don't basically get to draw, or if they add anything. It's just nice. And since it is a really easy to use, the thing I like about this is that it's an easy to use counter trap. There's no stipulation. There's no real cost, so this helps you further your, Minerva plays, your Artemis plays. And then I'm going for 2 copies of Divine Punishment because since this does require Sanctuary in the Sky to be on the field, it's not always as good. And I was playing 3 for a while because it just offers so much protection, so much destruction, and can cover everything. But honestly, since it requires, too many things, I'm only playing 2 of. But it's still pretty good, and I recommend playing it. I'm checking out this brand new card that I just released in Extreme Force. This is the Showdown of the Secret Sense Scroll Techniques, aka the biggest alliteration card we've ever had in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Say that 10 times fast. And basically, when their opponent activates a spell or trap card or monster effect with the same name as a card in their graveyard, negate, activate, negate, destroy. And this is huge because if your opponent already got 1 Ash off, this can basically stop Ash. If your opponent got anything off it, since all these decks require multiple pieces, this can help you destroy multiple pieces or multiple effects. So it's just kind of a little one-of, a good tech, helps you balance things out a little bit. Then I'm playing 3 Ultimate Providence because I think Ultimate Providence is extremely good. Now, while the discard cost, if you don't have, Guardian on the field, the discard cost can be kind of heavy. But if you already have too much traps in your hand, and this is on the field and your opponent activates Judgment, this can activate, discard, nuke Judgment, or a monster effect, or a spell. So this does have a little more versatility. I like this better when you have Ariadne on the board because it just wrecks, just completely obliterates your opponent. Then obviously playing the Solemn Brigade, playing 3 Strike because it's the easiest and it's the biggest counter you're going to see, probably partnered up with Solemn Warning. Again, guys, the effect of Minerva and the effect of Artemis basically say that when a counter trap is activated, so if your opponent uses any of these cards, you also get to draw and use your effects. And obviously the big boy, Solemn Judgment. Solemn Judgment is huge in this deck, as I mentioned over and over again. I'll mention it again. With Gaia Yodnai, this is a free judgment. Free judgment. With Sanctuary in the Sky, you can recycle it. With Metiel, you could theoretically add it from your graveyard. With Ariana getting popped, you can add this to your hand theoretically from your opponent choosing it. You can just recycle, and it's Counter Fairies, guys. You're going to be playing a lot of traps, but I just think that Judgment, I'm just going to leave that there. I think Judgment just truly helps the deck out and gives it kind of that nice little competitive edge. Now, now the extra deck, you don't go into it a lot, so I'm only talking about a few cards I think are extremely important in the deck. Babushka. Now, honestly, I think 2 Babushka is enough because your cards still go off with Babushka's effect on the field because it's not activation, they're mandatory. They just go. So you don't have to activate to play them. This still works. It's phenomenal. Castel, because it's a rank 4 toolbox. Abyss Dweller, because it's a rank 4 toolbox. You don't have to play this one, but I kind of like it. Dark Rebellion, XYZ Dragon. Granted, it does target, but it does give you a little power play. Cowboy, because Cowboy for game, guys. I'm sorry. This deck doesn't really require a lot of extra deck space, so I feel you can use this. And Tornado Dragon to offer some back row protection. Now, I've only really talked about 6 cards here, guys, but you can add so much to your extra deck. Add some links if you want, add some more stuff. I think that the strength of this deck lies in the fact that it doesn't need the extra deck at all. It doesn't need to summon. So that's why it's kind of more open and versatile, and it's a toolbox. Overall, guys, that's pretty much my profile. What do you guys think? Leave some comments below, subscribe, and we'll see you next time for more Yu-Gi-Oh content.